Tell me, do you know who I am? I'm very good, you know. I answer. But then why does it happen that if I have an issue with somebody outside that they're asking that person to does they know who I am? Maybe because they are lacking identity. You think so? This is the person, but I know myself. But then again, there's always that penchant tendency to ask somebody, especially if I bash somebody's car, which I haven't done, but I've been planning. And I'm also getting a set of phone numbers, also I will call. I feel like for anyone who knows themselves too well and is not, this on the flip side, and is not struggling with their identity. Mm-hmm. The first thing that comes um to mind when something happens to you is you're really asking people, do you know who I am? So it's more like you want them to know you by whatever status or qualification or power that the person possesses. And in that way, do you know who I am is more like, so this is what I am. And because of that, I can oppress you and you're nobody to me. Or it could also be that, oh, do you know who I am? If I tell you who I am, that person that you are calling, the person that I know of, that person that you are calling, I might even be bigger than that person. Do you know what I'm saying? Is it physically or? It can be physical, it can be fights now, you know. Because most times in the context of where this thing happens, you see somebody, especially in situations where there is conflict. The next thing is, do you know who I am? The next thing is, people start making phone call. And I've always asked myself, who are they calling? They are calling people that can help them deal with whoever that has offended them. Because you feel like that's the best way to address it. However, that is actually how much we abuse power in this part of the world, where the moment something happens to someone, yeah, I understand the place of people doing things and not feeling sorry for those things that they have done. But in a situation whereby something just happens immediately, you've never given the person the room to speak. The next thing is, do you know who I am? Or you go somewhere, they ask you to queue. And instead of you to join the queue, you're asking them, do you know who I am? Why would I join the queue? Who are you? Aside flesh and blood that is going to turn to dust. So the moment people go into that place of, let me make a phone call and I'm going to show you, that show you is, for me, it comes from a deep place whereby people really lack what their self-worth is really worth. What happened to trying to do things the right way? Does it always have to be that you always see yourself as superior to other people? Because it comes with pride, where you feel like people don't even, they don't reach you. So you're the alpha and the omega wherever you go. So it's more like you want to go around asking, do you know who I am? Because you want people to know you as someone who can oppress them with the power that you have. So, if what you're saying is true, it means the fact that not only do we have like actual insecurity, we also have an insecurity crisis, internal insecurity. So in this country, we are fighting two insecurities: the insecurity that affects people physically and the insecurity that affects people internally. Yeah. So we have two battles on our hands. And trust me, if what I think is true, it means that this insecurity is not police problem. It's not a police case. You know? Yeah. So for me, I usually look at so what are people necessarily lacking that will make them to want to enforce their identity in front of another person, especially in a situation that requires maybe resolving conflict, you know. And the first thing that comes to somebody's mind is, do I know anybody that I can call? Is there something I can do? You know, to prove to the next person. Yeah, it's trying to always prove to people. And the truth is that, sorry, I'm cutting you there. The truth is that even when some persons have not asked, do you know who I am? We also have that subtle, when I call it low self-esteem, because this is why I'm saying it. Now, as a person that I am, I have to first believe that I am worth a person with all the values or character or everything I possess with my personality. And I have to tell myself that I am okay being myself first. And that is why when someone asks me, who are you? I will say, I am Judith.
Now, in some setting, when people go there and they are asked, "Who are you?" the next thing you're hearing is, "I am PhD doctor, whatever." Did you get?
Yeah,
I
yes.
am.
Yes.
Who are you, first of all? Then you can call all the things that you have bagged. Now, those things are good. They are your achievements. We applaud you for them. But somehow, we just want people to know us by the things that we have acquired over the years or the things that we achieve, other than just knowing you as a person, first of all. So it now happens that the moment something happens, you're asking, "Do you know who I am? Do you know I'm a doctor? Do you know I've done 2 masters? Do you know I have my PhD? Do you know this? Do you know that?" Because we feel that those things are what defines us as people.
So, yeah, what you're saying is true. There's a tendency for us to define ourselves with things first before us. So, there are two ways in which people, I think, get their identity. There is probably the societal identity, which is, sort of like instilled in you. You're a Nigerian, that's your identity. And the most cultures, for example, in Igbo culture, they say, this person is an Igbo person. There are certain characteristics and traits, that is meant to reinforce that person's self-esteem to say, as an Igbo boy. Or, for example, somebody from Abana can come and reinforce that value that, oh, Abumwaba, that kind of thing. It means I can't be cheated. I can't be, you can't outsmart me. I'm a hustler. So sort of like that's sort of like an environmental influence on creating an identity for that person. Then there's also the identity you get through family. You are the son of this, you are the first daughter of this. Uh, so when people see you, they say, "Oh, this person is from this family." Especially if that person is coming from a royal lineage, they tend to be associated. The person's identities tend to be associated with that. So that person can go around. If you ask them, "Where am I?" the person they say, "Oh, I'm this person. I'm a prince. I'm from this royal family." To reinforce that identity. Then you also have the more Western liberal identity, which is basically reinforced from the individual. You have to go and look for your identity. You understand? You have to be the person to find the identity. So it now depends on what now reinforces you is what you do, how you go about your personal discovery. And for me, I think that requires a lot of work. Then, so how does this identity issues relate to the context of the Nigerian situation? So I think, I don't know. I think, but
You know, but you think.
I know,
Not say
but
you
I
don't know.
think so. I I think that "Do you know who I am?" comes from a lack of collective sense of identity. I think for some people, what does Nigeria mean, or what does Nigeria represent? I mean, if you go to a Ghanaian, there is the politician power, which is more um, embedded in the states, in the state and power. But then again, the Nigerian military or the Nigerian army, I think for a Nigerian is what it means to have power to be able to survive. So, and when somebody becomes, enters those kind of institutions, they now start forming power blocks. That's why most often than not you see the military will step up for themselves, because I mean, I'm a military man, so, or I'm a policeman, so, so for a Nigerian, it means that they have to identify with something that when anything happens to them, that thing can be what they can fall back on to say, "Do you know who I am?" So do you know who I am could be, "Do you know I'm a lawyer?"
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm
Do you know I'm
saying?
a wealthy man?
Do you know I'm a
Do
wealthy
you know I have the
man?
resources to
Do you know my Do you know my brother is a police officer?
Yeah, yes,
Do you know my uncle is a commissioner
He's
for
a
police?
colonel,
You
yes.
understand? So for people who don't like us, who don't have those things, we look for how to associate with all those
We have Jesus
strata,
Christ,
all those small,
our
small,
greatest soldier.
small. We look for how to, identify with all those power blocks. Because that is actually when something happens, the only thing that might save you. The only thing that might save you might just be, your uncle who is in Navy called somebody, and they call somebody in that location and they say, okay, okay, fine. So it means that you go around or living your life knowing fully well that the only way to survive is to have power.
Yes, it's to have power. And the pride aspect of it also comes in. And let me also use myself as an example. So I recall that I got this job into this non-profit organization. When you're working with a top international non-profit organization, like it's like the top. So someone is asking you, where do you work? And then you call the name. And the person is still like, maybe you just call the shot for a person like, okay. You not want to call the full, the full name. Just because it's more like, I don't think you get it. This is where I work. Because maybe you're expecting a reaction to come from them like, really? A big girl. So those things actually happens to the best of us. So when I even got into that organization, those things were like it was something I had to be very conscious of to say, why do you really need to explain this to this person? Like, what's the essence of it? There is that internal um like there's that pride looking around that wants to get satisfied by you acting in that manner. By me saying this is where I really work. By me trying to, glorify those places to say, yes, that is me. So that because I feel like there's a sense of respect I will get, or a sense of applaud I will get for being someone who is working there. Or that I might also get this elevated what's it called? Having someone elevate me in the way that they see me because I've called where I'm working. And these are the tendencies that we should actually look out for. It starts from there, where when you're working somewhere or you're privileged to something or you're privileged to somewhere that you might be or something that you have achieved. And the moment someone asks you, you forget yourself and you now want to identify with something that you achieved, not something that achieved you. You now forget yourself. Instead of trying to instead of trying to identify with who you are as a person, you want to identify with those things because you feel like they are the things that make you who you are. But no, it's the other way around. You're the one making those things because you can still live without them, right? You're the one who bagged it. So why are you now allowing it to take the go over who you are as a person? So we really need to look out for all of those things. Hence, the reason why you now see people when something goes wrong somewhere. You're seeing a man who is driving, someone bashes his car. He comes out with a whip and he's shouting, you know who I am. I'm not trying to excuse people's bad behavior, but let us also learn to, ask ourselves questions like, why am I really asking people if they know who I am? What am I lacking? What am I really lacking that I want them to identify me with? Is it that you're not confident enough of yourself first? Is it that you're someone who is so hungry for power that you're looking for every single way to abuse power?
So the first part of the psychological, the first part of the lowest part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the psychological. They said at this level, the person is hungry, thirsty, so you want to fulfill those material needs for self-sustenance. And also, the after the psychological, then there is the safety. Uh, so this one is about avoiding pain and making sure that everything you are not in any immediate danger. Then there's the social needs. They need to be, you know, sort of like being. They need. Let me just. They need to be loved and liked by and seen by other people and accepted. Then there's self-esteem. So I think this captures like the human needs very well. However, I would like to add that I think in the Nigerian context there might be a deviation for it. I think because of that lack of esteem, collective self-esteem or identity, I think that in Nigeria, after people have fulfilled the psychological needs, safety needs, the next need that they want to go and fulfill is the power needs. A need that if something happens to them, they can find a way to fight back, or in most cases, oppress the person back. You understand? Like they want to make sure that if they're in any situation,
But it's we are all Nigerians.
yeah, if they're in any situation, they have what we call backup.
Yeah.
You understand? I mean, this person doesn't necessarily have to, be a part of, maybe a very powerful.
Yeah.
This is just somebody that probably follow the ladder of, making money or get to be rich. After that, the self-determination, or, the thing that they want most is, okay, fine, now I've gotten this. That's why most times once people get small money enter their hand, they don't go carry my phone.
Yeah, they can carry more pull. And this is not also to negate the fact that when you need to call authority over a matter or over a situation, you should, yes, call the authority and let them weigh into the matter in the right way, but not in a way that you're outrightly abusing power because you feel like you have one Mopo's number to just ring and immediately they are there. And after they are done with abusing, oppressing, dealing with people, you now pay them money. It doesn't make sense. We can do better. Yeah.
So, do you know who I am?
Your benediction will be constant.
Thank you. See you in our next video.
Yeah, so see you in our next video.
Bye-bye.
Please don't forget to like, share, comment in the section, subscribe to our channel, and see you in our next, okay? Now,